Energy is how people read you before you open your mouth.
As people judge you before you even talk.
And shut the fuck up in 2024. You sound
it don't matter. I feel like you next.
My clothes don't really mean my personality.
I disagree.
And you wonder why you have no man.
I saw a comment that said define masculine, and it made me realize most of us can't. I mean, we say we want masculine gay men. We say masculinity is disappearing, that we miss real men. But when you ask people what masculine actually means, they freeze. Masculinity is being a provider. But if a woman makes more money, suddenly he's less of a man. Masculinity is dressing well. But if you care too much about grooming, people call you gay. Straight men can be loud and dramatic and is charismatic. But gay men do the same things, and it becomes a stereotype. And in Black communities, masculinity is being strong. But when Black men don't talk about trauma, we get called emotionally broken. If a gay man is feminine, that fits the stereotype. But if he's masculine, people assume he's lying, DL, dangerous, or trying to trick somebody. So we're judged for being feminine and sus for being masculine. And when you add this all up, we don't agree on what masculinity is. But we've all got that one guy, including you, that you look at and you say, that ain't it. Whether it be the insecure one who's got to prove he's straight, the pick-me guy, the fake alpha, or the mama's boy, the forever online, and so on and so on. It's different reasons, but they get the same reaction from us.
Bitch, you ain't gonna take nothing out of my ass, I can assure you of that.
See, we don't just stereotype looks. We stereotype voices. A high-pitched man must be gay. A woman with a deep voice, she must be butch.
Who does that?
She got that.
See, we trained ourselves to put people into boxes before they even finish the sentence. So let me just say it plainly. Gay isn't feminine. That's just a stereotype we've allowed to stand in for the whole community.
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
But because it's lazy to treat that as the default template for gay men. Straight men can be loud.
That's why he's sitting there acting light skinned.
Emotional.
You should have never kissed her.
Messy.
I'm just saying.
I don't like to go against the system.
Dramatic.
Oh!
Or even characters like Kyle Barker.
Your man is gone.
And nobody questions their masculinity. But a gay man does the same thing and suddenly it's sassy, feminine, and not a real man. It's the same behavior just with a different moral weight because of who it's coming from. So in this video, I want to discuss what masculinity even is, who gets to claim it, and why gay men get boxed into one personality type. Because I think we've been arguing about a word that nobody bothered to define. I know I keep going back and forth between gay and straight, but hear me out. I got called gay in school for liking art class. It had nothing to do with sexuality. It just wasn't masculine enough. And this was the same thing with running track. It wasn't athletic enough. But football and contact sports like wrestling, that was manly. No, don't stop, keep going. So when people get weird about masculine gay men today, this has been programmed for decades.
One way to knock out a boner, this is the science coming in, it's to have fear. Yeah. Physiologically, that's not gonna work.
Because y'all know how y'all get, even when I tell y'all my intentions. There's also this thing people call the gay voice. And you likely heard a voice in your head as soon as I said that. And that's the problem. Not because there's anything wrong with that voice, but it becomes the default representation of gay men. We've let one type of gay man become the public image for all gay men. And then people act surprised when someone doesn't fit that image. And the crazy part is that it doesn't apply evenly. Think about Kevin Hart, Damon Wayans, Sr. and Jr., and Aziz Ansari. These men are animated, expressive. Sometimes their voices are high-pitched, and nobody questions their masculinity or their sexuality. But when a gay man speaks that same way, suddenly that voice becomes his entire identity. Is it queer performance, or is it social pressure? I'm not sure. But I do notice that there's this connection with the nasal tone and expressive hands. Sociologists call this social coding. We use tiny signals like voice and posture and clothing to sort people into boxes. If you're quiet or traditionally masculine, as a gay man, people think you're hiding something or you're lying. So masculinity becomes this performance that nobody wins at because the rules keep changing depending on who's watching. There's research showing people guess sexuality within milliseconds of hearing a voice, and they're often wrong, but the stereotype still sticks. I don't talk like that. I'm pretty monotone. My voice is just my voice. If I recorded in the morning, my voice would be lower with more bass present. But right now, this is what it sounds like warmed up. And here's the thing nobody wants to admit. Masculinity doesn't have a definition. But if you must have one from the dictionary, qualities are attributes regarded as characteristics of men or boys, such as handsome, muscled, driven, vigor, strength, toughness. But one could also argue that if I'm a man and I'm doing this, does that not make that manly? Does that not then make that masculine? Because if you ask 10 people what masculinity means, you're going to get 10 different answers. And some of those contradict each other, which leads me to believe that masculinity isn't a trait, but an energy. So maybe masculinity isn't strength or dominance. And perhaps masculinity is just how energy feels in a body. And we all read energy differently. It's a social agreement that keeps changing depending on who's talking and who's being judged. It's a hierarchy. A straight man, if he's emotionally expressive, then he's in touch with his feelings. With a gay man, he's just dramatic. If a straight man gossips on a podcast, he's entertaining. But if a gay man does gossip journalism on YouTube, he's messy, he's feminine, same behavior. This actually played out in real time on my last video. Some people had a problem with the model I used in the thumbnail for Gay, Old, and Alone, just because he didn't match their mental picture of what a gay man is supposed to look like. That reaction is this masculinity conversation. If I had used a more feminine presenting guy, nobody would have said a word. But a masculine gay man disrupts the stereotype, and people felt the need to correct it. Think about that. See, they weren't mad that I used a stock image. They were mad at the stereotype being challenged. And that's masculinity in public. The second you challenge it, people feel like they have to defend it and fast. And that's why I've come to see masculinity as not some fixed identity, but as something people earn, spend, and sometimes fight to protect. It's more like social capital. Subscribe or don't. Up to you. The social currency that straight men are allowed to spend, but gay men have to defend. Because the second you don't perform masculinity the way someone expects, they start asking questions, whether it be out loud or to themselves. Masculine gay men make people uneasy, not because of what we do, but because of what we represent. For straight men, a masculine gay man breaks the mental shortcut. Because if gay men can be masculine, then masculinity doesn't prove heterosexuality. For some women, especially in the Black community, a masculine gay man, in their words, is a waste of a man because they saw him as a potential partner. Because to some women, masculinity is reserved for femininity. Hell, even some gay men feel that same way. They don't understand mask for mask. So the pressure becomes, be more feminine so we can categorize you, or be less visible so you don't disrupt my narrative. And if you don't fit either, you get labeled DL. So everyone ends up performing. Gay men perform masculinity to avoid stereotypes. Straight men perform masculinity to avoid being questioned. Then women turn around and perform expectations of masculinity when choosing partners.
He did everything he was supposed to do as a man.
Meanwhile, nobody can clearly explain what they're performing, and we've all just got it fucked up. For me, masculinity isn't a role. I'm confident enough to quote Noxeema Jackson,
"Proof neither desired nor required."
It's not something that straight men get to grant me permission to have. And it's not something that gay men get to revoke. So what does masculinity mean to you? Not what you were taught, but what you actually believe. Let me know in the comments. I read them. And this is where people start mixing things together. See, masculinity is not sexuality. Sexuality is who you're attracted to. Masculinity is how society reads your energy. Your voice doesn't make you gay. Your walk doesn't make you gay. Who you're attracted to makes you gay. But what about the guys that say they're attracted to...
Don't say that.
In Gay, Old, and Alone, Let's Talk, I was talking about loneliness. A lot of that loneliness comes from these scripts. If you don't fit the version of gay that people expect, you're isolated. If you do fit it, you're boxed in. Either way, you're not fully seen. And I'm not saying masculine is better. I'm saying the stereotype is lazy. As people, we're more complex than our energy. But our energies can be just as complex. And others can pick it up, even if they can't figure it out. But as a society, we only know how to categorize. Masculinity doesn't disappear just because you're attracted to men. For some of us, it's simply that. It's the attraction to masculinity. And this gets complicated when attraction isn't about gender, but about energy, like androsexuality. Let us circle back to that one and unpack that at a different time. Nobody can really define masculinity, but everybody can point at a man that they don't respect and call him unmanly. We don't agree on what masculinity is, but we agree on who ain't it. Even people who say that masculinity is a social construct still have a mental image of a man they respect and a man they don't. So we argue about definitions, but we all react the same to certain behaviors. Strip everything away. Clothes, labels, stereotypes, and you can still feel masculine energy on some people. We just know it when we see it. Masculinity is an energy that doesn't have to be announced. It just is. But it shows up in a variety of ways, so who gets to claim it? Who gets to say this is masculine energy? And who gets told they're faking it? We've seen masculinity weaponized against women. If she's assertive, confident, and dominant, she's too masculine. Meanwhile, some men wear masculinity as a badge of honor, even when it's just performance. So we can agree we recognize the energy when it's present, even if it's not authentic. That's what confuses us, because we're all made up of masculine and feminine energy. Some people lean more one way, and some people slip in and out, and some people live balanced in between. But society needs you in a box. Not me, society. We like organization. We like expectations. And we love shortcuts. So if your energy doesn't match the box they built for you, they try to correct you. They try to explain you away because we've been conditioned to label each other. That's part of our survival because ambiguity makes people uncomfortable. It's why we look at someone that's on the fence of being attractive and unattractive for a little bit longer because our mind needs more time to process it. Are they cute or are they just weird looking? When people hear lesbian, they picture masculine energy in a woman's body. When people hear gay, they picture feminine energy in a man's body. We've built these mental versions of real people that we let live in our head as a barometer to measure others' energy. So when someone doesn't match that, people get uncomfortable. And instead of questioning the stereotype, they question the person. And for that person that needs to hear this, none of this is bad. Drag is art. Femme gay men exist. But they're not the whole story. This is not an attack on femininity. It's the reason straight men are comfortable with saying clock, tea, giving, slave. Flamboyant doesn't equal feminine. But there's an energy. A lot of men have a problem with being associated with the word flamboyant because even when looking for examples, there's more representation of the feminine energy because as a collective, we decided it's synonymous for over the top, which falls into the category of feminine energy more times than not. Though we have clear examples at the beginning of this video of those that we consider to be traditionally masculine being over the top. I swear, man, this video is going to be tricky as fuck. Flashy is the word we use for masculine flamboyance. And it's crazy I even have to word it that way because flamboyant does not mean feminine. And would you look at there, flashy, right under flamboyant. Same meaning. There's even a category in ballroom where you're judged on how masculine you appear. Realness. So it's not a bad thing to be masculine and gay. Just be prepared to be judged for it.
Girl, that is crazy. Like how you went viral, bitch. Oh.
Some gay men are okay with being called and calling others girl, she, her, Miss Thing, Miss Mamas, etc. And it all be in love. Not me.
I heard all this Oscar talk about Samuel Jackson and Miss John Travolta.
And though this is a sketch, there have been questions around John Travolta's private life for years. Is there footage? Do people see him with another man? Or is it his energy?
I got the bank statements to prove it, bitch. Okay, so now what, girl? Yeah, girl. What is your talent? Because I'm still waiting to get rep for. So now.
The same gay man will also weaponize girl, she, her, Miss Thing, Miss Mamas, etc. towards another man. It's like the F word but meant to cut deeper when it's directed at someone who's clearly not femme presenting, but easily bothered when their masculinity is challenged. So masculinity isn't just something you are, it's something that other people decide you're allowed to be. And the people doing the policing aren't consistent. But if energy is how people read you before you open your mouth, then masculinity is something that people judge before you get to explain yourself. I was going to name a few YouTubers here, but I've been on this platform long enough to know that that never ends well. And honestly, even if I did, half of y'all will argue about it in the comments anyways. And that's the point. We don't actually agree on what masculinity means. Masculinity is a sorting system. It's a shortcut people use to decide who's safe, who's desirable, and who's disposable. And the scariest part, most of us think we're thinking for ourselves. We're not. If you made it to the end, drop the word energy in the comments. There's research, and everybody reads energy. Ooh, is this dickhead really gonna just fucking blow that horn all goddamn morning? This is just my opinion. But you stay to the end for the spicy part.
You talking spicy? Yeah.
This might be controversial, but energy is why some are passable to us. Insert whatever group works, you can. I'm not. The energy is there without the modification.